Embers burned in the mind of the crow. The fire before him held all the temptations he had sworn to leave behind, including intimacy and the abandonment of structure and rules. All there was to do was reach out and take it. Reach out and begin a new life with the fire beyond the wall. But although it grasped at his heart and ensnared him in its heated embrace, the fire was not enough to dissuade the crow from his post forever, though the will of a lesser man may have broken beyond repair. This fire was Ygritte. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Exploring Fiction. Ygritte embodied the spirit of a wildling spearwife, and through no fault save genuine attraction, she became entangled with Jon Snow. And though Lord Snow was undercover amongst the wildlings and was forced to act as such, he reciprocated these feelings. He broke his oath to the Night's Watch with the girl kissed by fire, and the pair even shared in the temptation to flee together and live forever beyond the wall, away from both wildlings and Westerosi. In Ygritte, Jon Snow beheld the call to pure, unadulterated life, without rules or responsibilities, or the petty conflicts of his previous life. And while he could hardly resist the initial attraction, he held firm. Nevertheless, Ygritte personified what could be, the desire of every man deep within their psyche, and without malicious intent, left a lasting impact upon her lover forever. So, who exactly is Ygritte, and why is she such an interesting character? Let's explore. Ygritte was born in the year 280 AC beyond the Wall, as a member of the wildlings, or free folk, as they fashion themselves. Little was disclosed of her past, save that which she relayed herself, but Ygritte grew up in a standard wildling village. Life was unforgiving and savage, but also free and rewarding. She came to regard fellow wildling Longspear Rick as a brother, and the man even chased away her first lover, as older siblings are apt to do. By the time of the current story, Ygritte was short but athletic, though not entirely attractive in the ways of the maidens of the Seven Kingdoms. Her face was round and pleasant, with a mouth full of crooked white teeth below a small nose. Ygritte's eyes were blue-gray, contrasting greatly with her most prominent characteristic, her thick and shaggy head of curly red hair. A rarity amongst wildlings, she was considered to be kissed by fire for this trait, further alluring Jon Snow after the pair began to bond. To survive in the northern tundra, Ygritte donned multiple layers of fur and leather over a doeskin shirt. Atop her head sometimes sat a sheepskin helm. At her hips she carried a bone dagger and an axe, but her preferred weapon was her bow, which was crafted of animal horn and weirwood. Due to her skill and instinct for conflict, she quickly became a key member of Rattleshirt's war band, which was where she remained even as the crows inched closer into wildling territory. Ygritte first appears in the second volume of A Song of Ice and Fire, A Clash of Kings. Having joined the ranging party of the legendary Qhorin Halfhand, Jon Snow and his companion Stone Snake scout the Skirling Pass for any sign of danger. They spot the band of the wildling Rattleshirt, and pounce upon them in an ambush. They slay the wildling men, including Orell, but Jon realizes the last wildling is no man, but a woman with fiery hair. It is Ygritte, and he cannot bring himself to kill her. Nevertheless, Jon binds her as a captive, and attempts to extract information about the activity of the wildlings from her, as they await Qhorin's arrival, but Ygritte reveals little of worth. Jon reveals to her that he is the bastard son of Eddard Stark, prompting Ygritte to recite the tale of Bale the Bard, which hints that wildling blood runs through the veins of all Starks. Lord Snow spurns the idea, much to Ygritte's amusement. Finally, Qhorin arrives, and Jon brings his captive to his superior. The half-hand simply instructs Jon to do with her what he must, and again, Jon hesitates, as he presumes Qhorin wishes her dead. Ygritte offers that he join her amongst the wildlings, and he of course refuses, but still, Jon cannot kill her. Instead, he allows her to escape. Afterward, Qhorin explains that he allowed her fate to be placed in Jon's hands, and he had been interested to observe the results. They did not disappoint. Ygritte returns to Rattleshirt's band, and one by one, members of the band of Qhorin Halfhand are picked off as they retreat to their brethren. Finally, only Jon and Qhorin himself remain, along with Ghost, and the wildlings surround them. Ygritte is among them, and witnesses Jon Snow cut down Qhorin Halfhand, secretly under the man's own orders, and supposedly turn his cloak to join the wildlings. Rattleshirt is unconvinced, but Ygritte advocates for Jon, saving his life for now. Ygritte continues to play a pivotal role, especially in the life of Jon Snow, in A Storm of Swords. As a prize, she takes the cloak of Qhorin Halfhand as her own, and along with the rest of Rattleshirt's band, ushers Jon Snow to meet with Mance Rayder himself. Jon convinces the King Beyond the Wall that he has indeed altered his allegiance, and Mance assigns him to the company of Tormund Giantsbane. Ygritte follows Jon into his new place amongst her kin, and sleeps beside him as often as she can manage. Jon resists her, using Ghost to shy her away, but Tormund explains that according to wildling culture, he has stolen Ygritte from her previous lovers. Jon, however, continues to test his will, spurning her advances. It is amongst Tormund's company that Ygritte begins to mock Lord Snow for his lack of knowledge, both of life and the world. As they march closer and closer to the wall, and all that Jon Snow has loved and protected, the wildlings come upon the aftermath of the carnage at the Fist of the First Men. Mance Rayder fumes at Jon for having withheld the information of the greater force of Night's Watch men in the wild, and in order to save Jon, Ygritte confesses to Mance that she and the Turncloak are romantically entangled. Because of this ruse, Mance is reassured that Jon truly is a member of the Free Folk, and not just a pretender out to topple his new empire. That very same night, however, the ruse becomes a reality, as Ygritte finally succeeds at seducing Jon. Despite his best efforts, Jon breaks his Night's Watch oaths, sleeping with Ygritte for the first of many times. The pair, now inevitably closer, joins the band of the wildling Styr, who looks to scale the wall itself and set upon Castle Black from the direction the Watch would least expect, the south. The night before their fateful ascension, Ygritte and Jon sleep together once more, this time within a hospitable cavern, and both experience the temptation to run away and begin their own life together. But it is not to be, and as planned by Mance and the others, they climb the entirety of the wall and tread upon the mainland of Westeros. As they weave south to match their plans, Ygritte reveals to Jon that Mance Rayder never located the legendary Horn of Joramun as he so haughtily proclaimed. She is amazed by the abandoned towers in the Gift, and assumes them entire castles, and Jon nearly forgets how little of the world Ygritte has truly experienced. The raiding party makes its way to Queen's Crown, and while there, Styr captures a lone old man. He orders Jon to kill the man to reaffirm his loyalties to the wildlings, and this time, Jon refuses. Ygritte cuts down the man in his stead, but Jon's charade is no more. A thunderstorm rages above, and in the din, Summer the direwolf, out prowling and protecting his companions hiding in the Queen's Crown Tower, wreaks havoc among the wildlings. Jon makes his escape, but not before he is shot with an arrow through the leg by his lover, Ygritte. As the spearwife continues with the remaining wildlings to Castle Black, Jon arrives first, and warns his true brothers of the planned ambush. But despite their element of surprise having evaporated, Ygritte and the other wildlings proceed with their attack, and she is mortally wounded by an arrow. Ygritte perishes in the blood and snow at Castle Black, a melancholy smile gracing her face as she lies in Jon's arms. Jon burns her body at the conclusion of the battle, and he faces backlash amongst his Night's Watch brethren for breaking his vows with Ygritte. When he treks back beyond the wall to treat with Mance and Tormund, they together honor the spearwife's memory, and Jon truly does miss her. In A Dance with Dragons, Jon often reminisces about Ygritte. She has passed into whatever lies beyond, but the memory of the wildling woman, kissed by fire, remains fresh in the land of the living. Ygritte exists as the ultimate temptation for her final lover. Jon Snow has been tasked with joining the wildlings in order to spy on the antagonists of the Night's Watch, and so must kill his very own mentor, the Half-Hand. But even that action is not enough in the eyes of some free folk. Jon Snow is a crow, after all, and requires either more time or more action to prove he is truly devoted to the wildling cause. However, his next broken vow comes not from an action forced under penalty of revealing his true intentions, but under the temptations of lust and love. Ygritte grows fond of Jon, and the pair sleep together multiple times, cementing Jon Snow an oathbreaker. The spearwife kissed by fire is the ultimate test of Jon's willpower, and she is the test he fails wholeheartedly. Though fate, or circumstance, drives them apart, Ygritte and Jon care for each other until the former draws her last breath. But Ygritte represents not just the temptation facing Jon Snow, but the temptation facing every man. She is a free woman, savage by the standards of some, but just as beautiful and fierce as any lady in the Seven Kingdoms. Ygritte takes what she wants, and pursues whomever she pleases. It is Jon who must resist her advances, and even when he fails and finds himself wrapped in her embrace, there is further temptation still. In the silence of a hidden grotto, Ygritte presents the possibility of abandoning the wildlings, abandoning the Night's Watch, abandoning responsibility and strife, and spending a life together as man and woman. Not only does she embody desire, but also freedom, and the combination of both attributes mixed together. She yearns to take Jon Snow into the wild, where they are bound to no one and may live and love each other without fatal consequence. Of course, this is little more than a fantasy, but the mere idea of such an existence is enticing beyond measure. Jon, for all his faults and previous oath-breaking, returns to the Night's Watch with renewed resolve, but his escapade with Ygritte and the wildlings alters his thoughts and actions for the rest of his life. She showed him a new side of life, a more free way of existence brimming with potential. And while Ygritte does not survive to see what becomes of her wildling kin, she perishes in the arms of her lover, content with the life she has led as a free woman beyond the wall. Ygritte lived and died a true wildling. She held no regard for the rules or conventions of the nobility of the Seven Kingdoms, and instead sought adventure, romance, and freedom above all else. Her encounters with Jon Snow displayed the appeal of her lifestyle, and her Turncloak lover was tempted to the point of breaking his vows. Yet, mere lust was not all Ygritte offered. She spoke even of a new life, one full of potential. But it was not to be, and she fell south of the wall she had come to despise and awe. Ygritte was gone, but her memory and what it stood for lived on. Ygritte represented the seduction of freedom. So, that's all for this video. Leave a comment with your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to have you. Visit my website, russellawellsauthor.com, for exclusive reviews, fiction, and more, and sign up for my mailing list for free exclusive content. The links for both are in the description below. And, like always, I will see you next time.